I've got something here I'm very excited about. So, many people may not know this, but back in the 4th edition of Warhammer 40k, that was back when there were a lot of codexes that didn't get released even during the course of an edition. Nowadays, we're kind of used to the busy, hectic, crazy release schedule where something new is coming out every month or whatever. But back in the day, sometimes codexes would go years and even multiple editions without getting an update. And sometimes, if you were lucky-ish, you'd get your army updated in a White Dwarf magazine. And if you look right here, Blood Angels Official Codex. Right there. Over the years, so that I can get my collection up and going, I've been trying to get a copy of every single Blood Angels Codex. So I've got the 2nd edition Angels of Death, which was the edition right before I started. I've got the 3rd edition Codex Supplement. And I had, of course, the binder with the print off of the Blood Angels PDF, which was called by Blood Angels fans at the time the PDF Heresy, because we were a little salty at the time that this didn't come out as an actual codex. And I didn't actually have the magazines that this was first published in. And so my dad, when I told him I was on the lookout for this stuff, he went through his archive of White Dwarfs and found the Blood Angels one, and he gave them to me. So part 2, we'll look at part 2 of the codex and everything that's in there. But I'm really happy, really excited to be able to enjoy this blast from the past and watch sort of the evolution of Blood Angels as I've been going through all of these codexes one after the other as I've been doing research to make more content. So this is the reason I'm really excited about this, because this is actually my first time reading through this magazine. Back in 2007, when this was released, I was not in America. I was overseas in Japan and not in a position where I could access anything GW related. And so when this codex, as such, got released, I wasn't able to access it. I wasn't able to go to the store. I didn't even know about it until I got back over a year later. So my dad bought these magazines and also downloaded the PDF version of the rule sets, printed it out, and put it in a 3-ring binder for me, and that's what I had, was a 3-ring binder with printed off PDF pages of a codex, and that was my 4th edition Blood Angels army. So let's take a look at it and look at this blast from the past here. We've got the Fortified Manor going for sale for the first time, which, funnily enough, with the old world, just got re-released this year in 2024. We've also got another edition of the White Dwarf anniversary model, this one with Gotrek and Bugman carrying him on a shield. Back then, you could expect to get an entire army in a box for $175. And of course, what I'm here for, the Blood Angels content. They were pretty stoked about this terrain that they'd come out with. Some of it was its first full plastic terrain. These trees, I think, are still used by Sylvaneth players as part of their terrain set. And then, of course, you have some of the old terrain painting guides. The Dwarfs had a release of their minor kit that came with this month, and an old Dwarf Miner painting guide. A blast from the past here. You've got Gav Thorpe and Phil Kelly facing off in a Dwarf versus Orc battle report. Now, naturally, I was rooting for the Dwarves, because that's just, I've been doing Dwarves since I was playing Hero Quest as a toddler. And naturally, that means that they lose. Sorry, Gav. Happy birthday, Grombrindle. The White Dwarf editor, Guy Haley, looks back on 3 decades of glorious gaming. Guy Haley, of course, who is now more renowned as the writing workhorse of the Black Library. quite a bit of retrospective stuff going on here. And some absolutely broken rules for the White Dwarf and company, including a 1+ armor save and healing all wounds every turn on a 1 or a 2. Ah yes, the Sons of Sanguinius. This is the first debut of fully gold painted honor guard. Up until this edition, they were red armored with gold helmets. We've got some generic descriptions of the lore, stuff from that normally would be in a regular codex. And finally getting into the old war gear and upgrades and the old, what would become to be known as data sheets. Look at that, Lamarties. I need one of those. And of course, we've got this lovely, lovely section where they pat themselves on the back for releasing this in a magazine in 2 parts instead of actually doing a book. And some Lord of the Rings content. Did anyone else think that some of the non-movie models they released for the game looked more like Warhammer miniatures than Lord of the Rings miniatures? Now this is the reason I actually have this magazine. My dad loves the Modeling Workshop articles, and he bought this magazine specifically for this because he had 2 sets of this castle set. So yeah, this isn't really like thought-provoking content or anything like that. This is more like a trip down memory lane and a little bit of a nostalgia fest. But there's something about reading this old material that just fills me with that same joy I had. A joy that sometimes I feel like I'm losing with the more modern releases. And it's reigniting the love I have for that old stuff. And I really enjoy going through this. So if you want to see more about it, make sure you like, subscribe, do all the followings and the whatnots and the who's its and the whodunits, and I'll go through Blood Angels 4th edition Codex Part 2 later.